I sat with a whole group of kind of managing editors and top executive producers, and a journalism dean asked them, am I misleading kids by getting them into this business? And everybody agreed, no, it's exactly the opposite, that what you're seeing is a forest fire that is burning out all the 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds, all of the old dead wood, and it's a raging forest fire because there hasn't been one that's gone through. And what's going to happen here is this is going to create a void where the young sprouts are going to come up at the bottom of the forest and grow and have to fill those voids. And there are going to be more openings. We're going to go through a really bad patch of 5 years or 10 years. But the demand is there on the part of the public for information, and somebody's going to have to fill it. And those young people who come out of school and know how to write, know how to think, and know how to get accurate information and give people believable information are going to be in enormous demand because of the void left by what's coming out right now.
So what would you tell the 50 and 60-somethings who are being burned out? What's their role now?
Well, I think they may have to find different professions. I mean, to a large extent, they are people who are not versed in the new technologies. If they can make the transition to the new technologies, great, but they're competing with the people who came up taking these technologies for granted, and their brains are wired for that. One, you try to make the change, but B, there are other things than being at the head of mainstream media. It's wonderful to be there, but there's also time to step aside and work on newsletters, work on public relations for things that you believe in that isn't necessarily selling out, working for nonprofit organizations, doing all kinds of good. There's an enormous demand for people who can write, for people who can think in all kinds of worthwhile endeavors, and to think that I can only work if it's on a first-class network, on a first-class publication, is small-minded.
And maybe I should ask the question differently. What's their role with respect to these young ones?
I think their role, first and foremost, is to explain to the young ones how gratifying this business has been, how lucky they were that they chose that because we all love what we do, and to pass on that love of journalism, be the love of ethical behavior and the chance to be proud of what you've done. And most important, not to spread their gloom and doom to young people whose worlds are very different and whose lives may be very, very different.
It's hard to do when you're losing your job and you're afraid. How would you advise people to cope with the fear, which is, not something you can just wish away? It's a scary time.
It's a very scary time. It has always been a scary time. If indeed you were an investment banker and you thought that was the safe way to go, look where you would be in the course of that. I think, first of all, I go by my brother-in-law's great saying, it's too late to be unlucky, to appreciate what we've gotten to do. And if you're 40 years old and you've gotten to work in this business for 25 years and gotten to do great stories and things that you're really proud of, that's much more than you ever thought you were going to be able to do. Be in the scary time. You reach out for your friends, you reach out for support for other people who are like you, and understand that you're not alone and you didn't fail, that things change and you have to change with them.